I'm Coach Ant.
I'm Coach T, and we're fans that know some.
And first, I got a couple quick announcements. We need you guys to like and subscribe. We have a couple shows coming up. Our AFC North NFL edition, where the AFC North fans are going to collide, and we're going to tap into the NFL schedule, position battles, you name it. So again, be sure to tap in with us, fans, for the fans, by the fans.
Yes, sir. We also have our State of Boxing episode coming soon, so stay tuned for that. But today, we're going to jump into King LeBron James, the king of love and hate, Lakers struggles, and the NBA evolution. Let's get in it, boys. Let's go.
Let's go.
First, I want to introduce our first guest, Dre Wallace. Welcome to the show,
Yes,
man.
sir. Yes, sir.
We're going to put you to the test today. You ready?
Let's go.
Yeah, we got to see
I'm ready,
if you
man.
really know something, all right?
Yeah, I might know a little
Fans that
something.
know something.
Yeah,
That's what it's
yes,
all
sir.
about.
That's what
Here
it's
we
all
go.
about.
Mm-hmm.
So I got I'm repping my Bulls today, man. But there's a narrative that's being pushed that us being true MJ fans, but they're also LeBron fans. But there's a narrative that we can't like both. I don't like that narrative. So I'm going to dive into my first question, Dre. For
Okay.
you,
Okay.
what about MJ made you a fan?
I think with MJ, man, we never seen anything like him before, right? He was the first. Now we had Dr. J.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which he was somebody that we never seen before ever, right?
Right.
So when he played, whether it was playground at the Rucker, ABA, on to the NBA,
Yep.
it was something like, whoa. And then you had the whole facade, the whole fashion, the whole afro flying when he was flying in the air. But he was doing stuff, man, that we had never seen, coming from one side of the backboard, going out of bounds, coming under, which Jordan did borrow from that.
Oh, okay.
So you remember that. It was already done.
Yeah.
But with MJ, man, he brought a style and a flair. Because see, like, the misconception that me and Ant get,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on social media, whatever, is that we hate Jordan.
Yeah.
We were all Jordan fans.
time.
Am I correct? How could you not be a Jordan fan?
Big time.
Supersonics, but go ahead.
Oh, you were
continue.
Supersonics? Okay,
For
but I was a
sure.
Cavs fan.
Yeah,
I'm still a
yeah.
Cavs fan.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I actually got to see Jordan play.
Yeah.
And we did beat him sometimes, but I saw him get off.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I was a fan of his while he was playing us.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm a worthy Cavs fan because I got beat up.
Yeah.
I got jumped for
Yeah.
being a Cavs fan.
Yeah.
I got into one fight, I won it, and then he went and got his cousin, and they jumped me because I had a Larry Nance jersey. And they said
my
it was
goodness.
whack.
I haven't heard that
So,
name in ages.
Yeah, so now you ask me, why would you wear a Larry Nance jersey to
Yeah,
school? Well,
yeah.
it was what it was, and
Yeah,
the tickets were cheap.
Yeah.
So I went to those games, but Jordan brought a level of showmanship,
Yeah.
talent,
Yes, sir.
mastery that I don't think we've ever seen before until LeBron came in.
Yeah,
You know
there's
what
an
I mean?
old saying, right? The will to prepare is necessary, but the will to win is vital. And that's what Jordan brought to the game in my eyes.
Yeah.
Why did you become an MJ fan?
I mean, for everything that Dre mentioned, and then also, his one, we were given like that whole mystique.
Yeah.
Because again, back then you couldn't really, early on, you didn't see all the games.
No.
You know what I mean? So we saw the commercials, we saw the highlights. So when you finally watched the game, we saw the shoes that he was wearing in the commercial.
Yeah.
Then I think too, like for me, watching Jordan, how he attacked failure.
Yeah.
When he would lose,
Yeah.
he had that tenacity where he was just relentless, trying to will his team to win. So I know growing up, that gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, MJ got cut from his team.
Yeah.
And now look at him.
Look
if
at
I
him,
get cut, I can do this. And he just had that hunger like, okay, you got me once, but I'm coming back.
Yeah.
So, and just his whole style, whole style of play was just cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the level of
was
marketing,
crazy.
it got all of us.
Yeah.
Like we were all entranced with everything because we saw him on court. Matter of fact, the first time I heard about him, I thought his name was Eric Jordan. See, in the hood,
Air
this was like in
Jordan.
'85.
Yeah.
I was living on the north side. I'm from Youngstown, south side, but I was living on the north side when I was about 8 years old.
Yeah.
And these other kids came up to me, was like, "Man, you know who Eric Jordan is?" I was like, "Eric Jordan?"
In fifth period?
Yeah. I'm like, "Who is this?" They like, "He can fly." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Eric Jordan can fly? He in the NBA?"
Yeah.
So I wanted to see it. But it came out, it was Air Jordan. So I just think it was just that the marketing
Yep.
from the shoes, then you threw in Spike. This what really grabbed me, Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he started doing the is it the shoes?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I was a fan of Spike anyway, because he was just a weird looking dude from Brooklyn with the glasses and the little flip up hat. And you know what I'm saying? So he just had all of us entranced with just the marketing in the NBA. Once they saw that, once they saw what Nike was doing, they were like, "Oh shoot, we about to make $1 billion off of this dude."
So for me, it was the slow motion, the air, the pose, and they kept playing it to "Come Fly with Me" and all of that.
all the videos.
So, all that was cool, man. But I want to pivot just a little bit. So MJ's on his way out. Insert LeBron James. The narrative is MJ is going to pass the torch to LeBron James. He's took him under his wing. Everybody's talking about this kid coming out of, a prestigious school in Ohio. And so LeBron's here, and now all the hate starts. Where do you think that comes from? Where do you think the hate started with the whole LeBron James takeover?
I would say, man, right from the jump, though, if you think about it, and we saw the clips, his own teammates didn't think he would be what, that important to the team. They were saying, he can ride our coattail, and I don't think a high school player can come in and be the guy. Yeah. And then two, from the hype that he came in with, you know what I mean? You still had at that time a lot of stars who were still battling to be like the next NBA star.
Yeah.
And they were doing their thing for a minute, then all of a sudden LeBron hits.
Yeah.
So he started to take some of that attention from those guys. So I think right out the gate, it started right out the gate.
Yeah. Yeah. Dre, what's your take on that?
My take on that is similar to his. Listen, the NBA, they were not ready to let Jordan go when they started talking about LeBron.
Yeah.
Remember, they wanted Jordan to come back. They didn't want him to retire in that last shot against Utah.
Yeah.
Right? So they were kind of trying to find who was going to be the next, because they were kind of scrambling. Like, who is it going to be? Was it going to be Penny Hardaway? He got hurt. Was it going to be Grant Hill? He got hurt. So, like, who is it?
Yeah.
Right.
AI came on the scene. They wasn't ready for AI.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't tall enough.
Yeah.
He was too street.
Yeah.
So they were like, man, the reason I think the hate started because they were not ready to pass that torch on. And who did they think was going to be a moneymaker that actually came in?
Yeah.
And the fact that a 16-year-old, you're talking about a 16-year-old that quietly Jordan knew what it was.
Yeah.
To invite this dude to play at 16 to come to your crib, where you host games with other NBA players, to see up front whether it's really real or not, and then find out, oh, it's real.
Yeah. He's really that guy.
How does he know this at 16?
Yeah.
Who's coached him? Nobody.
Right.
That's what speaks to LeBron's greatness, because it's like, well, where did it come from? We can point to where Jordan came from.
Right.
You know, who started coaching him from what was his name? Dean Smith.
Yep.
Then he had Tex Winter and what's Bulls coach? I can't think of his
Phil.
name. Right?
Phil Jackson. Yeah.
So you could kind of point to those little things, like,
and even
okay,
his big brother, his big brother was
well,
really good
what
at
up
basketball.
on him? Jordan did,
his
LeBron
brother
didn't
was
have no
nice.
siblings.
He just didn't
His brother
have
was
the
just
height.
short.
Yeah.
His brother was nice.
Larry.
We've heard the stories.
Larry Jordan.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it. I just don't think the NBA was quite ready to let that Jordan wagon. Trust me, we were kind of like, dang, he retiring.
Yeah.
Like,
we
what
wanted
is it
him
gonna
to be like a beast with the Wizards.
Forever.
And you heard the stories, even Gilbert Arenas on his podcast broke down how, towards the latter parts, like Jordan was coming in those games like after partying. You know what I mean? It was hard to watch. I mean, there were some flashes of MJ being MJ.
Yeah.
And we were just holding on, hoping he can just get them in the playoffs. But guys, because he's MJ, they was going at him. And I just think, like, when LeBron came in, it was like, okay, he had the hype, but then next thing you know, the more people start to encounter with him, they start to see, oh, snap, this is pretty real.
So,
like,
this is real.
And with that comes the comparisons, right? So
Yeah.
Jordan, the buzz is around Jordan's taking him under his wing, so he gets
I
in
don't
the
know if
league.
he took him under his wing, though.
I'm
Never
saying
took
that's the
him under his
narrative.
wing.
That's the narrative.
Because, you know what I mean?
But
Like,
that's the narrative that was
yeah.
really hot then. But my point is that with that came the comparisons, right?
Yeah.
And you have current former NBA players, analysts on record saying they've never seen this level of scrutiny and expectation put on a player, ever. So why do you think that is? Why do you think that type of scrutiny and expectation, Dre, was actually put on?
It's a complicated. This thing is make it make sense. This is a complicated thing because none of it really makes sense. Think about it.
Yeah.
You compare centers to centers, forwards to forwards, guards to guards, point guards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. LeBron is not a 2.
Absolutely not.
He doesn't look like Jordan in build. He's bigger, much bigger.
Yeah.
Much bigger. Yeah.
Right? I think a lot of jealousy goes on in the league, especially from the older generation to the newer generation. And then I think it was doubled up. A lot of the younger generation, his peers, hated on him as well. You go back to what you just said about when they interviewed his own teammates, which he was just on a podcast recently. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he addressed it because Steven Jackson called him. He was like, man, you was hating on LeBron. He's like, no, I didn't really hate. He was like, no, it was a little hate. But his answer was, he said, I actually had his back.
Yeah.
And what they were taught is no rookie comes in and
it does,
takes over a team and leads a team, especially at 18.
Right.
He was just in high school.
Yeah.
You trying to tell me he about to come in and just, even Kobe didn't do it. That's what a lot of people don't realize.
Right. Yeah.
Kobe's first 2 years were not that great. He had flashes of what he was going to become, but he was trash can a lot of those games.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they were like, okay, Kobe didn't come in and do this. Nobody comes in.
Kevin Garnett
didn't come in and just play. So who is this dude to think that he's going to come in? And really, quietly, LeBron never really said he was about to come in and take over.
Exactly.
Himself.
But that's
the
the funny
thing.
That's the narrative, though.
The narrative.
See how the
well,
narrative
confidence.
spins that.
See, confidence will. I've seen confidence make a lot of insecure dudes real uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just by you being clean or Ants, New York confidence come in the room, some dudes would be like,
yeah.
Right.
Man, right away.
He all confident and speaking clear.
And mad.
Speaking clear. He got his hair cut.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Ant, come on, give it to us, man. What's your take on
I think too, the expectations coming in, like they said, you've never seen that. And the weird thing about it is people, when Kobe started to get a little bit closer, showing flashes of MJ, he actually started getting hate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
he did.
Yeah.
He started getting hate.
Absolutely.
And then people were like, well, he's trying to be just like Jordan. And then all of a sudden, when LeBron came in and they saw something else great, it was like that, it shifted. Because people just start hating on people who they feel are as close to taking away the MJ mystique.
Yeah.
So it shifted to LeBron. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then people start to, every little comparison, they just raised the bar.
Yeah.
So when he came in, that expectation, it just would the scrutiny would shift. And then the more and more we start to see more games, people can see more on TV versus back in the day. You know what I mean? So I just think, it just continues to move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And think about that before you go to your next question. Jordan came in with some level of scrutiny.
Yeah.
Because he went through it with the older players too.
Yeah.
Coming in. But nobody looked at him like, okay, let me really see what. Because it wasn't like we already knew what he looked like in college.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This dude is like, so we already figured like he already played in the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
He had played against, professionals and different things like that. So we didn't see that from LeBron coming from high school.
Yeah.
So his first game against the Kings, he was big boy time.
Yeah.
He came out the gate.
He came out with 22.
Yeah.
Came out with 22 points.
Yeah.
And then everybody was like,
oh, he the real deal.
Oh, okay, he the real deal.
And then he started being consistent with his play.
That it was just like he never fell off.
Never.
Right.
He never fell off. Yeah.
So with those comparisons, do you feel like the goalpost moves a little bit differently between LeBron and how it moved for MJ?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey man, it's ridiculous, man. I just heard Rich Paul addressing Jordan's agent, and we'll get into that.
Oh my goodness.
But he was like, but one point that he made that was like interesting, he was like, Jordan never had literal sports shows set up to just dog him.
Yeah.
No, because
Like,
you couldn't.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't have the social media area, and I'm not trying to jump ahead.
Yep.
But it's just a different beast.
It's a different beast.
They've moved the bar for, like, listen, how many years did we hear LeBron couldn't shoot?
Man, forever.
Even when he was scoring, doing his thing.
Even when he was scoring, hitting, he been hitting logo threes. That wasn't when he got to the Lakers.
Right.
Like, he been hitting logo threes before Steph was.
Before Steph Curry, exactly.
But you have my problem with Jordan fans, man. I love y'all because I get it, because I'm a Jordan fan, and at one point I was looking at LeBron like, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But you can't keep moving when he accomplished one thing. Well, no, that ain't good. Now he was a pass first.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pass first guy. He can't shoot the rock. He don't have no handles. And I'm like, what are y'all? At some point, it was just like, well,
like, what are you talking?
What are y'all watching?
Yeah.
I love Jordan, but
it's like
I'm not seeing what y'all saying. Like, it's ridiculous. And then you throw in social media. It's just a whole different beast. But go ahead.
I love Jordan, first of all, also, but bring back the Supersonics. The glove. Sean Kemp.
Still on them Supersonics.
Real quick detour. Was that the greatest alley-oop tandem?
Absolutely.
Over LeBron and Wade?
Yes.
I don't know, man.
No question.
I don't know, man.
There's a few. There's a few. You got Chris Paul and Blake. So.
Man, wasn't nobody doing it like the glove and Kemp.
But I'm not mad at that though. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah,
they was crazy.
Yeah,
like,
it was. Yeah.
So I'll bring it back. I'll reel us back in.
Yeah, reel us back
in.
Goalposts.
So you mentioned social media, and that was perfect segue into this question.
But hold up.
Go ahead. Yep.
I need to address the goalpost moving.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because at the end of the day, like LeBron James, there's so many times where he will accomplish something and then people are like, well, but he didn't do it this way. And I want to put this into perspective, right? If you think about what he's doing now at his age, I want people to understand at Grant Hill's height, his best career, he averaged like 25 points.
Yeah.
Penny, his best career was roughly about like, I think 20, maybe 22, 24.
Yeah, about
but
that.
the rest were about 20 points a game. Same with Grant Hill.
Yeah.
And they're great players, right?
Yeah, they were.
LeBron's doing that now from rebounds and assists. He's averaging more than these greats at the peak of their career.
Yeah.
So you can't say, okay, well, he's just about numbers. Like, it's easy to get numbers in the NBA.
Yeah.
That's what cracked me up.
Yeah.
That is hard. You got 20-year-old guys who can't put up what he's putting up. You know what I mean? So the goalposts continue to move. They try to say, okay, because he's been in the league longer, well, he still has been the youngest to do damn near everything.
Yeah.
He take the least amount of shots, per season than Jordan and some of these greats.
Yeah.
So
He won't take the last shot.
that's not true because he has the most game winners. He got the most buzzer beaters. So, and then even if he don't take the last shot, right?
Yeah.
He makes the right basketball play. So when they talk about like the greatest basketball player of all time, I don't see it saying, okay, the greatest person to take the last shot of all time.
Got you.
Yeah.
I'm
Great
just
point,
saying.
man.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Back to the social media. Great stuff, man.
That was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
So, how has social media affected NBA, the NBA career of LeBron James? Right. For me, I mean, I want to hear positive and negatively. For me, I just think everything is just so stat driven. Like, it's what's the hottest stat at the moment. Somebody could be getting like back to back triple doubles, and all of a sudden, if LeBron ain't doing the back to back triple doubles, oh, he's trash. He ain't like so and so. But I want your take on that, whether it be positive or negatively. How did social media affect LeBron's career?
Because just like in real life, it gave the lame a voice. Social media.
Yeah, not the lame.
It gave lames and idiots a voice, and then it'll pull you in and have you sounding like an idiot arguing with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference. It's a different beast.
Oh yeah.
Because remember Jordan couldn't take the media, and it's out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Like he was like, "This is just the media. It's just too much. I can't really deal." He quit twice because it wasn't just tired on the court.
Yeah.
It was everywhere because he was the biggest thing, man. Like
Yeah.
I remember
the
bro,
biggest. Yeah.
all around the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got no rest wherever he went.
Right.
And so you just had newspapers and a couple of sports outlets. It wasn't sports
Wasn't the
media
same, right.
wasn't big like
Yeah.
that. But in that day it was what it was.
Yeah.
But now
It's sold at your, you
And-
can just
and
tweet
then-
something and it's viral all of a
it's
sudden.
viral.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and then it's turned into a different beast because now you can get famous and popular for just hating LeBron.
Yes.
Yeah. Off of some
Like you don't
nonsense.
have to make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
No facts.
Ant's been there. You've been there.
Yeah.
Where you put out all the numbers, all the facts that go against their argument, and then they'll go 6. Or they'll go, and then I'll be like 11.
Right.
Bill Russell.
Exactly.
According to your
Yep.
greatness, according to your criteria, he doesn't even come close.
Right.
Right.
Oh, without that age, man, anybody could have got 11.
6 straight.
Yeah.
6. He got 6. I'm like, he didn't get 6 straight. They like, one dude told me that. He was like, he got 6 straight finals. I said, no. He got 3.
Yeah.
He quit,
Yeah.
came back, choked against the Magic, got the
Yeah.
ball stolen from by Nick
Yeah.
Anderson. They
Yeah.
never talk about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Then, and we'll get into it. I'm not trying to step on your
No,
questions.
you good. You good.
Then he knew, which they criticized LeBron for this. He knew he had to get some people to get those next championships.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he knew, like, okay, we don't have what we need to make. So
That
free agency
yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
what it is now.
Right.
We know that.
Right.
But he did select those players.
Yeah.
He
There's
okayed.
conversations
Yeah.
that happen in the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
He,
Yeah.
he
people-
okayed Brock. Come on.
Yeah.
And then
Rodman.
you went to a
was a
dude who
beast.
used to
Yeah.
bust. I mean, I don't cuss, but is ass a bad word on the show? No,
we
say
might
it.
bleep it out.
Yeah,
but
bleep it out.
Yeah.
He used to bust their tail, man. Like
Yeah.
he got dogs
Yeah.
that he knew. Like, okay, we're gonna need him.
Yeah.
I need him to make this run.
Yeah.
So those are just like the things, man, that Jordan fans have the luxury of just like forgetting.
They forget all that.
Yeah.
In
Oh, yeah,
order
he
to
was-
just pile on.
He was getting
to,
his head beat in by them Celtics for a minute and those Pistons. So
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
he didn't beat any
Yeah,
super,
yeah.
listen,
And really-
he didn't beat any super teams in the 80s.
yeah.
And he didn't play against any super teams in the finals.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
like I said, because of his aura
Mm-hmm.
and how he made, and listen, I'm not taking nothing away from that
No,
man.
it's just the facts.
Woo,
man.
but that's just the facts.
Let the
Like,
facts speak
yeah.
volumes. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, get your take on it, Ant.
Yeah, I just think, with social media, like Dre said, anybody can have a voice and say whatever they want. And now you can benefit from it. Back in the day, if you said something bad about MJ, you couldn't benefit from it. Your career might be over
Yeah.
because he was the biggest cover.
Right.
And if he didn't want to give you the time of day, it was done.
Yeah.
So if Jordan had a bad game, but the Bulls would win, and say he had a couple shots here and there during that win, the narrative in the paper would be, despite his struggles, Jordan triumphed and helped his team lead
Yeah.
to victory.
Yeah.
Now, if I didn't see that game and I read the paper, again, it's constantly feeding into the narrative.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see the flaws. You don't see,
Right.
you know, him getting beat to the hole or things of that nature.
Yep.
And even back then, if he did, we didn't even look at it like mad. We were like, oh man, we still rooting for him to come back.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But people are so fixated with not wanting anyone to be anywhere close.
Yeah.
They look at LeBron James in a lens of like perfect. And if you notice it, social media be crazy quiet when he dominate. And then as soon as he'll lose a game and have like a 40-point triple-double,
Yeah.
and then some lame would be like, oh, LeBron, he choked. He can't get it done. And it's like, he did his thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think the pro is the greatness gets shown and you can see it.
Yeah.
But the con is everybody can create their own narrative. And especially with technology, you know, people can create false narrative. They can take a piece of something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give one quick example. Remember, it was not too long ago when he was out rehabbing and he was on the bench eating fruit. And he addressed this.
Yeah.
He was actually doing like his rehab and then, you know, he was like rehydrating and just ate some fruit. First of all, if that was MJ back in the day, I don't care.
You're right.
It's the fact that people, how dare he eat fruit on the bench? Like, what are you talking about?
And this is like ex-players like, look, that's so unprofessional. I'm like, you dudes used to drink beer and smoke cigarettes at halftime.
Right.
Crack kills.
Even more.
And smoke crack, bro.
Even warming up with your shirt off.
Don't go there.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
Hey,
that was crazy.
Isaiah had a moment. I think Isaiah got turned on a little bit. He was because it was just like out the blue and out of nowhere. This is ridiculous. Look at this shining torso.
Yeah.
We would have never. Look at it again.
That's hilarious. That is funny, man. Heck yeah, man. I want to pivot to some Lakers talk, man. I know you've been chomping at the bit to get your perspective on the debacle out here, man. So I want to ask you, what specifically do the Lakers need to do to get back into championship contention? And can LeBron get them there?
That's a good question. I think, honestly, you need depth at the 5 position.
Yep.
And they have to really get some tough players, man. I mean, because Luka got to turn it around as far as like conditioning and then how he approach not only an offensive, you know, juggernaut, but he has to be able to defend a lot better.
Yeah.
He don't have to be a great defender, you know, because he's big enough and he's good enough when he's in shape to defend, and he's smart, he's savvy, he's a savvy defender.
Yeah, yeah.
But LeBron needs dogs around him.
Right.
If you look at the difference with some of these teams like the OKC and even Minnesota, like those guys have guys that are in shape and they're well balanced when it comes to boxing out, rebounding, defending, all those little things. Like the Lakers were good enough from a skill standpoint, you know what I mean?
Right.
But when you think about the physicality of like, you know, not having any bigs, that I didn't get. And then 2, I think for all the praise, I think JJ Redick is going to be a phenomenal coach.
Right.
Yeah.
But everybody has growing pains.
Yeah.
He did some AAU kiddie stuff.
I was going to say,
Like,
I was going to say
43.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
You know, the rotation to me was atrocious. The rotation was atrocious.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think you flip the script and utilize like your guys more.
Yeah.
But they got to get more. They got to get bigger and more physical. And I just think the teams, like the Dallas team, a healthy Dallas team is going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
OKC is not going anywhere.
Whew.
You know, it's going to be tough, to be honest with you. It all depends on what they do with that roster.
It's
going to be
it's
tough.
going to be a wrap out there in the West. But Dre, come on, give it to me.
Yeah, I'll pick up where he left off. I'll start with the coach. Number one, I saw he didn't have confidence in that bench.
No.
Like, he has zero confidence in the bench, which tells me he's smart enough to know, like, our bench is kind of trash.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if I put them in, we're going to get... Like, I don't like what he did, but I gave him... It was still a bad call.
Yeah.
Because you got to give your players a rest. But he was just thinking as a coach, Like if we put skill-wise, if we put these guys in, we're going to be down 30.
Right.
You know, we'll never catch up. Also, that center position is key.
Yeah.
For Bron can lead him. Bron is consistent. Yeah. Bron is Mr. Consistent. He went from averaging 27 to 25.
Right. That's
again.
Pennies.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he can get you 40 a game, some games, 38 here and there when he need to, if he got rest. He need dogs. He need young dogs. Young, skilled, smart dogs.
Yep.
And until he gets that, I want him back in Cleveland anyway. You know, some of my Cleveland, well, we don't need him. I'm like, we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just don't think the Lakers. Y'all, you're a Lakers fan, right?
Mm-hmm. They
but
let
you're
Rudy,
a Cavs fan too, because you be rooting for the Cavs too.
They let Rudy Gobert, Rudy Gobert dominate.
Well, he dominated that one game, but physically, the entire team dominated. That's why I said they got to get more physical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They do.
And that's the thing. Like,
Luka built like a picnic table or a refrigerator. He's square. He boxed out. He got to get his conditioning together.
Right.
Yeah.
That's only going to enhance him, period.
Yeah.
Right.
And then just, LeBron playing out in L.A., the expectations that they're placing on. I just saw him arguing with a fan that was it just got released. I don't know if you saw it. Mm-hmm. And the fan was like, you trash. Like, you causing us to. His numbers don't say he's the problem.
Right.
No.
But the fans' expectation.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's weird. It goes back to your first question.
Yeah.
Because y'all didn't have this on Kobe because how many years did they not make the playoffs before he
And I'm a Kobe fan. You know what I'm saying? But LeBron is doing better than he was.
Kobe or Jordan.
Basis on my first question, man. I just don't understand why
it's the hate.
Listen, LeBron hate is big money too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because with the sports shows and the pages, internet pages, it's clicks and views. Yeah. And what does that result in?
Yeah,
money. Because now we had to talk about this. Mm-hmm. Now we're seeing people don't remember when Stephen A was a LeBron junkie, when he was like riding his coattails.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it flipped.
LeBron got him hot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
LeBron, he did.
Yeah.
Because Stephen A was lying. He's like, I know everything. I talked to them Rich Paul people. Rich Paul's like, no, you didn't. We didn't tell you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what did
when
it.
he was going back to Cleveland.
And all of a sudden,
he had the insight, and that he was spreading that he had the insight.
Yeah. Stephen A is that. I grew up with those dudes, man. I grew up with a lot of people, man, that pre-internet days when we were. So I grew up from Youngstown. I mean, he know how New York. Yeah, I'm from the Yo.
Yeah.
It was dog eat dog. The wolves was out.
Yeah.
Like when we let out of school, if you wasn't a wolf, you was quiet. You was walking with your books. And so in some cases, a lot of people got out early so they didn't have to face those wolves, right?
Yeah.
Stephen A is one of those lambs that you gave the gun to. You know what I'm saying?
Makes a lot
like
of
you
sense.
could just see how he moved.
Yeah.
Like, and so I always post on Facebook, money won't unlame you. You know what I'm saying? And he's that guy. He talks real loud. He barks. He talks real tough. We saw the whole boxing training videos. There's nothing tough about you, my guy. Even how you handle situations. Like a real dude wouldn't really go about it like that.
Yeah.
So, but you got a platform, and that's what makes you dangerous. And he's popular because he's kind of unpopular.
Yeah.
But people want to. But now that he hates LeBron, other people give him that.
They feed into it.
They feed into it even more. So.
And the funny thing I noticed, some of the players, like I'll even go back to like Stephon Marbury, right? Like there was a time when the guys who was supposed to take on the NBA torch, and LeBron somewhat interrupted that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He interrupted that and started taking it while these guys are still in the league.
Yeah.
And if you go back to that young LeBron, Wade, and Carmelo in the Olympics, when those guys were on that team and Marbury and Iverson were the vets that are supposed to get the gold, they were not treating them with any respect.
Right.
And LeBron and Melo and them guys said it was like two different teams.
Yeah.
They felt disrespected that they were even on the team, but they just got invited because the league, a lot of guys were opting out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of that, it stems, that hatred it comes from the jealousy, man. And then the fans, to be honest, they are still holding on to their favorite player, being Jordan and Kobe.
Yeah.
And that's where you get a lot of the hate for LeBron because he's great.
Yeah. And remains great. So even in his later stages of his career, right?
Right.
So I want to pivot away from those ideas for a moment and talk about earlier in the season when the Celtics and the Cavs were obvious favorites in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder were landslide favorites in the West.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Thunder is still rolling. Cavs and Celtics could not maintain. Why do you think that is? Why couldn't they maintain their status as favorites in the West?
Honestly,
or in the East, I'm sorry.
Well, I think the Cavs first and foremost fell into the trap of tracing that record.
Yeah.
You know, and they were exerting like so much energy to do that.
Yeah.
Say the same thing.
You know what I mean? And next thing you know, when the playoffs start to hit, you know, guys start to wear down. They start to, you start to have some of the injuries and things of that nature. I think the organization, you see why, again, people like LeBron, they've mastered, people talk about load management. He's mastered, and not only him, but some of the other like strength and conditioning teams on how they utilize their teams and who's playing when. Mm-hmm. Because honestly, I like looking at, like with the Lakers, there was games when LeBron didn't play and Austin Reeves was like the go-to guy. That helped his development. Now he kind of faltered in that's series. But I'm just saying the Cavs weren't doing any of that. They were going all out.
Right.
Then obviously with the Celtics, I think Tatum's injury hurt him. But OKC, you got to remember, this same squad is already battle tested.
Yeah.
And they're young. Yeah. They have a good front office that kept those guys, developed them, and they treat them well, and you're starting to see the fruit of their labor with that roster. And it's a new formula now, like the NBA with the second apron. You don't really necessarily want to have three stars. You want to have a solid team that's well balanced, and that's where OKC is.
That well balanced. So, Dre.
The game evolves, just like you said. And sometimes the games evolve faster than the fans want it to. And are willing to admit, but there's always ebbs and flow with any team sport. So where you can get like the big three, that might come back around in 10 years. There's ebbs and flow in this thing. Right now, that's not guaranteeing you a championship. Right? You need smart coaches. You need smart players. Mm-hmm. You need young players. You need young skilled players who can shoot. And to answer your question with the Cavs, two things: injury, and I'm not a dude that, we got hurt, but it does play a big role.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did I think the Cavs could beat? Did they match well up against the Pacers? Yes. Healthy?
Yep.
I don't think the Pacers could handle them healthy.
Nah.
Do I think the Cavs still lack a little toughness? Yeah. Mainly from Mobley, Jared Allen.
Okay.
Jared Allen smiled too much.
Yeah.
I got a funny story about
what. How do you feel?
I got to say this.
Okay, go ahead.
quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
And I love Mobley. You know what I'm saying? Again, the Cavs is my East team, Lakers is my West team. But when he got drafted, and he did an interview, and he said, "Let's get to work." The way he said that, I said, "Oh man, we in trouble."
Yeah,
but I gave him
proved me wrong.
The father from Good Times. Look, what'd you say?
Yeah.
Just the way he said it, I'm like, "Is he ready?"
Yeah,
but no, I'm just joking, bro. You doing your thing, but that's what I thought. Coming in, I'm like,
and I just think that's something that veteran leadership on the team that they miss out on. Mm-hmm. Could they get it from Thompson? Not quite, because I used to think he was a little soft. When he was he was good though. But I just think some of that toughness, like we the East, man. Like we blue collar, go to work, get grimy. You know what I'm saying? And that needs to reflect. This is Cleveland.
Do you feel like that Karis LeVert move was warranted? Do you think?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
I
You
do.
didn't like Karras at all?
I like Hunter coming in.
Hunter's
Hunter's-
a good.
But
Okay.
remember, he was hurt too.
Right.
He got hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Mobley was hurt.
Okay.
What's the other boy that was hurt?
Garland.
Garland.
Yeah.
Yes,
hurt
I
for a little
I
while.
always mess his name
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, he was hurt for a
Garland
while.
was hurt his toe.
And then
Yeah.
Mitchell still taking that next leap to be.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, he not. Listen, everybody not a Jordan. Everybody not a LeBron.
I feel the
Yeah.
same.
I'm sorry.
He's a
but,
great
like,
player,
he
but
did
it's-
everything. I got respect for Mitchell.
He did
He
everything
did what
do.
he could,
Yeah.
and then tried to do it on a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like those are tough, and I'm not giving excuses, but
Yeah.
there are excuses.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you come to talking about why does LeBron have more rings? We know that one year if Love and Kyrie were
Don't
not
give me
hurt.
flashbacks. Oh my goodness.
So I know you touched on it a little bit, but what have you learned from the current state of NBA on what it's going to take to be one of the last few standing? Obviously, health, because you touched
Yeah,
on
you
that.
gotta have that at the end.
But what else have you learned outside of that, Dre?
I think the coach learned some things. I think as an organization, you like I said, you learn through defeat.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes defeat is the best thing if you learn from it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Versus just being salty and going home
Right.
and never doing anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, we're in a shift. That's what I'm learning with the NBA.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
Yeah.
a shift. You
Yeah.
can feel it.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
feel it.
It's
Yeah.
it's definitely younger.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron you're getting tired more often on that court.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the skill set and the athleticism is just
Crazy
crazy
right
because
now.
you think
Yeah.
about it. And I
Yeah.
want to, stay on the whole LeBron thing. And I know
No,
'cause
no,
it's
you
all
good.
relative,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was like one of one when for years when Jordan was in the league.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the stuff that he was doing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Then you started seeing people like the Sonics, your
Yep.
boy
Kemp.
Kemp.
and-
Kemp.
Glove.
And it was like
Yep.
but as far as like a big man that
Yeah.
was like athletic,
Yeah. Yep.
Kemp, we was like, all right, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
He just wasn't about conditioning. He was
Right.
just playing off of natural
Right.
talent.
Right.
But now you got 6th graders doing Jordan's best dunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
7th graders.
Man.
I've seen it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So this whole idea that the NBA doesn't evolve, it was better. There are always going to have some aspects of the past that's better because we always take from the past, right?
Mhm.
Like we love Michael Jackson, but he wasn't the first person to moonwalk.
Right.
Right.
And then
Right.
there's a breakdancer out there like, I taught it to him, but you wasn't the first person to do it.
Right.
Now a clip from the 1940s come
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
with some black tap dancer
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Like he dances and then he moonwalks off the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So we steal and we borrow from everybody
Yep.
to add to the greatness and to
Yep.
the evolution of the game.
Yep.
Yep.
And so we're just starting to see that now with guys like Shy,
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards,
Mhm.
and all of these young guys, man, because they got a total package, man. And it's like, so it's kind of like bittersweet because we know
Yeah. That's coming to
Steph,
End of an era.
LeBron,
Coming
Yeah.
to an end,
KD
Yeah.
is about done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Coach Ant, let's go.
Yeah, I would say, man, we've learned that.
Like this
Again.
guy, man. This guy.
Oh yeah, hey, fans that know some,
Yeah.
that's what when you come here, you got to
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we've learned, man. Like he said, the game has evolved, and I know from being a basketball trainer, there's things that if I'm gonna show a player a couple different moves, I have to keep up with what works a little different now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you have to continue to evolve with the game. You don't train the same way you do now. The
Yeah.
moves that you teach kids or players that you did back in the day.
Right.
I remember when the basic crossover was the move, how you do a
Yeah.
crossover, and it was really working on your step, your lean, and then go.
Yep.
Your step, your lean. Now you got footsteps, you got hezzies, you got,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you got to have all that, and you have to teach that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think now, too, the physicality, players are training as athletes
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and it just tells you, if you look at the Olympics, right, during the Dream Team, they play, if I'm not mistaken, they played a total of 8 or 9 NBA players.
Yeah.
The Dream Team played
Yeah.
against 8 or 9 NBA players.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There were over like 89 in this last Olympics.
Yeah.
This dream team alone played 69.
Yeah.
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 Think about that.
it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then Shea is from Canada. He just won MVP.
Yeah. SGA is the truth.
You know,
I'm sorry.
Denver, you got the Joker and Murray. Murray is from Canada.
Yeah.
Joker's from Serbia. So
yeah.
the game is completely different because people are better. And when you talk about the NBA being better, that lets you know college is better.
Yeah.
High school is better. I know some high school players that are just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just so much competition.
Yeah.
So I've learned that the game has just evolved. And also players, when you do allow them to play defense, they lock in. The league, the rules just, people think the defense is not there. It's based off the rules.
Yeah.
You let these dudes play defense like they're doing in the playoffs, you see the games are different.
Yeah.
So that's what I've seen, just the evolution.
Think about this. There were aspects of the 80s and 90s that was unfair, that allowed a lot of players to play in a league that wouldn't even start in the G League today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I
Because
have to- It is
what it
their
is.
whole
I mean,
thing
people
was,
people gonna be mad at you.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Listen, man, listen. Holla at your boy, man, because y'all know I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
Listen, there's no way that Lambeer would play in today's league. Like, he can't.
Yeah.
He's not skilled enough.
Yeah.
He's not strong. Have you seen his body back then?
Yeah.
Like, no muscle, tall, square built.
And it's no disrespect.
And it's
We're
no
just saying,
disrespect
man,
because
like,
in his day, what he did, what he contributed was great.
Yeah.
Because I used to love watching the Pistons.
Right.
When they was clotheslining people. And
Yeah.
putting elbows and eyeballs and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But that's not basketball.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I got a chat right now in my Facebook Messenger with me and my homies from Youngstown.
Okay.
For 2 years, it was started out as one chat about music,
mm-hmm.
and it's been nothing but LeBron and Jordan argument for 2 years. It's every day. It's
Hot
nonstop.
topic. It's a hot topic,
And
man.
so I told them, I was like, y'all talk about all this 80s toughness. Now think about when we played growing up. If you fouled somebody like that on the playground, you would have got shot or fought or beat up or whatever. I was
Yeah.
like, that's not realistic.
Yeah.
right.
You know what I'm saying? That's not skilled basketball.
Yeah.
It had to evolve.
Yeah.
Now, is there some level of toughness that has left the NBA? Because I'm balanced with my argument.
Yeah.
Because these phantom calls that get called now
The flopping.
is ridiculous. The flopping. Listen. LeBron upsets me to no end. I keep telling bro,
Luka
you're
be
not
getting on my nerves.
You're not
Luka
LeBron.
cries
You're not gonna get
every-
that call. They're not gonna call it for you.
Right.
Get up.
Yeah.
Quit faking like you did.
Yeah.
It's a bad look on your GOAT. You're not helping my GOAT
Right.
argument
Right.
when you
Right.
do that. But here's
Bring
what
it
balances that out.
Bring it home.
Who's the father of the soft NBA?
Ooh.
Bring it home.
It's your man.
Jordan complained
Go
to the league
Jordan.
about the fouls.
Yeah.
He complained about,
Yeah.
literally, he went to the commissioner about the fouls.
I remember.
He went to a reporter and called Pistons thugs.
About Lambeer.
About Lambeers. They're
Rodman.
thugs. They don't
Yeah.
deserve,
Yeah.
almost like they don't even deserve to be in a league. They're
Yeah.
like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Another thing, like we remember the Dream Team documentary when Jordan took the picture with Bird and Magic.
He
And
said,
Magic leaned up. What did he say?
Yeah.
He said, you can't get close to Mike because it's a foul.
Yeah.
It's a foul.
He was
He was joking,
he
but
made
he
it
was
a
telling
joke,
the
but it
truth.
was the
You can feel-
truth.
Yeah, it was the truth for sure.
Then when they started
Yeah.
saying, you know what? Today we have zone defense. What did they call it in the 90s and 80s?
Yeah.
Illegal defense.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
So when they started talking about implementing that thing, Jordan went to the league again, was like, listen,
Yes, sir.
that takes away from my game
Yeah.
Yep.
if you do zone.
Yep.
So while people be like, oh, zone is soft, man was better. Here's where man was soft at. You had expansion leagues back in the 90s
Mhm.
that Jordan, played against. The skill set level was not there for every team that you played for the games that we didn't see, not
Yeah.
the marquee
Right,
games.
right.
Right.
Not the marquee.
Right.
So if he
It's more-
played
it's more
the
watered
Mavericks
down.
in the early 90s, yeah, some decent players,
Right.
but there was some people that he had to guard that you didn't even know their name.
Right.
You didn't know their skill set was trash, and he
Yep.
had a field day with them.
Yep.
There was some days Muggsy Bogues was on him.
Yep. Yep.
And Muggsy gave him work too, though, because of his stature.
Yeah,
he was able to rip that ball from Mike.
Yeah.
He was
man.
down there. But yeah.
Y'all, man, y'all crushed it today, man. I got to give props because y'all gave some nuggets in here. I hope y'all was listening out there, man, because a lot of stuff to debate. So we want to hear from y'all too, man. Y'all chime in on these conversations and give y'all's take as well. But I have a bonus question. Y'all ain't ready for this one, right?
Okay.
So I want to start with Dre, man. I just dude, man, so
we show love to our guests. We show love to our guests.
Yeah, I appreciate
in the Last Dance, Pippen recently got a lot of criticism talking about how he was portrayed in that documentary, right? And how it was more MJ focused. Do you agree with his take on that?
I'm mixed on it because it was MJ's documentary.
Okay.
So we know the ego of MJ.
Yeah.
We know the competitiveness of MJ. He'll give a little love, but it's not going to be about you, Pippen.
Yeah.
What I don't like is that he made Pippen look stupid.
Yeah.
Especially when it came to the contract.
Right.
That type of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you didn't even really have to go in depth with that because it kind of almost made you like one thing I know about LeBron. To win, he would have probably took a little bit of a cut to make it happen. But that stuff back then was just like, hey, your agent got you what you got. I mean, that ain't got nothing to do with me. So you can't totally blame him. But he does have a right. And here's why he has a right to be angry, Pippen. I'm with you on this.
Yeah.
Who's the all-time leading rebounder, steals, and assists for the Bulls in playoffs?
Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen.
Mm-hmm.
So he carried the team.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not taken away from Jordan's
Not
greatness.
taken away. And we were cool with that.
Yeah, we was cool with
Bulls
it.
fans.
Yes.
But when he got the ball, though, I used to love when Pippen came down the court.
Man.
So I imagine Pippen, if he had his own team where he was the head lead guy and he had a support and where he can just do most of the scoring and stuff, he might be right up there.
Yeah,
you
for
never
sure.
know.
Yeah.
So I think he had a right to be angry. Yeah.
All right. Coach Ant, bring us home.
Yeah, I would say I was definitely disappointed as a Bulls fan because I was looking forward to, you always grew up seeing like the greatness of MJ and Pippen, right? And people got to remember Pippen for a while was an MVP candidate that year that Jordan stepped away, so I was ready to see when he stepped away in a documentary more glory being given to Pippen on what he did and how he carried that team. Because if you think about it, their record, it was only like a 2-game difference from the year before with MJ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think Pippen, a lot of that, what they used to cover up because they knew the power of MJ, he couldn't say a lot of that stuff back then.
Yeah.
He couldn't come out and voice what he felt.
Can't shame the cash cow.
You know what I mean? But now when he's like, at least somebody give me props for leading a team in assists, being, the defender that I was versus giving it. When he see like LeBron is getting, put up there as the GOAT on greatness, on things that Pippen did for the Bulls, being the point forward, but he's not getting the same level of like props.
Yeah.
I think, and when I say that, it's more so, again, talking about that documentary. I just think it should have been more emphasis to say, you guys are slipping. We know he's one of the top 50, top 75 Hall of Fame, and we know that.
Yeah.
However, this dude was super great.
Yeah.
And I think him not getting that in that documentary, and it was more about like MJ and his greatness. Because again, we don't talk about how they struggled.
Right.
Even the year they won the championship.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They only won like 50, something games. They were struggling between. It wasn't like they were as dominant. But
Which year are you talking about?
This was 97.
97, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Sonics.
that 97, was it 97, 98? So, yeah, I mean, I think he had a right. But again, Jordan is so powerful. When you go against him, you have to have more Teflon. And that's what LeBron has.
Yeah.
Ooh, shots fired.
He does.
Yeah. I like
tough.
it.
He's tougher in that sense.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, man, we did it again. As y'all can see, man, fans that know some thank you for coming, Dre, man. We appreciate your
man. You
insight.
gotta come back,
Oh, I'm
man.
coming
You gotta
back.
come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah,
Anytime.
for
my guy.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.